Hello and welcome to the Battle Systems tutorial video for the Maladum expansion of Al an Adventure. Now this tutorial video is going to deal specifically with the terrain for this particular set, but just as a note, this is an amazing set. It comes with a whole bunch of new adventurers with additional rules for crafting, a ridiculous amount of equipment, extra event cards and side quest cards and all sorts. But as part of that, there is some terrain inside this set as well, which has got some very unique bookcases, some special freestanding doors that give you access to new locations, as it were, some crates, a plinth, and some nice freestanding banners. And there's lots of other cool things in here again. So this video we're going to deal specifically just with how to put those terrain components together. I think we should just get straight to it. So we've got two sheets in here, two unique sheets. One just of Al an Adventure, and then we've got of Al an Adventure 2. Various cool things on here. Not really anything that, if you've got the core set, which I'm assuming you have because it's an expansion to the game, there's a lot of things that you'll see that you've already got in the core game, like this cog lever, for example. And there's some unique shaped like chests and plinths and an altar, but they all slot together in a very similar way to the tombs, almost identical to the tombs and the chests. They're just different patterns, but we will just show you how to put those together anyway. So there's a lot of things going on there. Then there's some unique things that you've not seen before, like these hanging banners, these tapestries, and we've got some freestanding doors, more chests, and we've also got a wardrobe, which like a bookcase, should I say, which you may have assembled from some of our other sets, but if you've got Maladum, you wouldn't specifically have put that together, plus a plinth and a brazier, etc. So I'm going to just start with this first sheet, I guess, and just pop out some things. We're going to start with the easiest one here, which is this floor tile. We've got a very simple texture on one side, and we've got like a cave texture on the other side. This looks really cool, and rules for this and in side quests and things is in the book, but there's really nothing to assemble. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to assemble one of these chests here, these treasure chests. So I'm going to pop out the parts for that. And these are identical to the normal chests that you actually get in the core game. And in fact, over here, we can deal with this at the same time. We have got this normal chest here, which is exactly the same as what you get from the core game. So these are both identical. The only difference is that we've got a different texture. So I'm going to show you how to put this one together, but this one comes together in exactly the same way. So let's deal with this. We've got one area with a half cut in it for a lid, which effectively makes two sides and a lid, or two fronts, a front and a back, and then you've got two sides here. There is a texture on the inside versus the outside, and there's kind of like a cloth texture inside, and then we've got one of these, which is textured cloth on both sides, and one of these, which is textured cloth on one side and then wood on the other side. This is the base of the chest, as it were. So just like your normal chests in Maladum, the core set, you're going to slot the two sides in like so. You're going to stick this across the top to make the front. So we're doing this backwards. Oh, I haven't pushed the little slot bit out of that. That was a bit difficult. Put that back in there. This should now slot in there rather nicely. Like so. There we go. And this creates that. And then you've got a base here, which is going to go in like this, and it will just hold in place. But what we're going to do that last. So we have got this piece which we want to put underneath the lid, so that when we close this, it stays closed. But in order to make that work, what we want to do is make sure we get it in the right place. So making sure this is all together nicely, we're going to take this here. We've got our stamp side, which is the side that the blades go in, and it curves the edge of this card. Okay, we're going to turn that over and place the glue on the reverse side, the non-stamp side. Okay, like so. And in fact, what would be even better is we're just going to pop a little bit of glue onto here, like so. Not too much, just enough to hold it in place. And we're placing that glue just like in the middle, so I can close this and the glue's not getting anywhere. Then we are going to take the reverse side and place that onto the glue, and we're going to close this like this from underneath, keep it nice and flat, and we're going to push this down inside, and then we're going to, keeping pressure on here, we're then going to glue that into the bottom. We're going to hold it there for a second, and we're going to just test to make sure that that isn't getting stuck in any way, shape, form. You can see it's already staying together. So we'll do that. Quite happy with the location of that. And then last thing we're going to do then is we're going to take this piece here, and this will now pop inside here with the cloth side facing up, and you can push that down and that will stay in the bottom like so. And we can then close that with a little clip, which is really nice. Now, of course, the bottom of this can fall out quite easily, and you're going to be putting things inside it. So the last thing we could probably do is we'll just run a little bit of glue around the bottom of here, which is why we glue this in first. Otherwise we can't get to it in the same way that we just did there. A little bit of glue around the bottom inside edge of that, and then exactly the same again. What we're going to do, we're going to just take this, making sure we've got the bottom side with the correct texture on it here, place that in there, push that to the bottom, make sure it's nice and flat, immediately lift it up because it'll splodge a little bit of glue out onto the bottom of the mat like that, and then we can leave that upside down to basically dry. But you can see that we've got this lovely little clip that happens here that means that this can be opened or closed, and you can put your counters and things in it. This also comes with a little treasure counter that fits in there, which is really cool, which also then fits into your dashboards, but we will not put that in there yet because we've got some glue in the bottom and we don't want that to dry. So I'm going to place that upside down over here and just leave that to dry. So there's another one of these on here. And of course we've also got this chest here, which assembles in exactly the same way, and you're going to, you know, put this little bit underneath the lid and so on and so forth. So that, we've already covered that. Let's cover something else that assembles in exactly the same way. Doesn't have a lid, so I will kind of run through this. Or it doesn't have a hinged lid, so I'll just run through this one anyway, just in case there's any confusion. But again, if you've got Maladam, which is going to be, I'm sure, you know, the majority of people that have got this set, you already know how this fits together. So in exactly the same way, you've got an inside texture here, which is the blue cloth, and you're going to just slot these around here like so, until these come together. There we go, we've got this. You can do exactly the same thing with this, making sure that we've got one here which has got the blue on both sides, that's going to go underneath the lid. Then we've got one that's got the wood on one side and the blue on this side. That's the one, blue facing up, that we're going to pop into the bottom of here and push down. And again, that stays in just as it is, but we'll probably run some glue around there so that stays in there permanently. And then because this hasn't got a hinge lid, we can now basically glue this under here. So make sure that the lid is stamp side facing up, so we've got the nice curvature of the card where the blade's gone in, rather than doing it this way. It'll make the whole thing look more uniform. And then we'll take, so we're going to reverse this because we want this to go on underneath. Then we've got this little piece, which again we're going to have stamp side facing up, so you've got a nice little curve. We'll drop a little bit of glue onto the middle of here, bloop, You don't need to do much, because as soon as you push this down, it's going to evenly spread that glue out. And you want to try and make sure that you get this. I'm going to bring it a bit closer to me so I can make sure that I get this exactly in the center, like so. So I've just glued that onto the underside of that, and then when that's dry, which is probably not yet, but you can put this on top of here, and it won't move around because it's kind of held in place by this little inside piece like that. So again, I'll leave that this way off to one side to dry, and I would glue in the base as well. But you can see it assembles almost exactly the same way as those chests. So let's go on to something else that also assembles in a very similar kind of way, but it's got a few more kind of aspects to it. So we've got this little altar here, and we've got a little plinth. So let's go with the plinth first, and everything's labeled, so you know, plinth is plinth and altar, because some of these parts look very similar. So plinth times 2, this is also the plinth, and this little sword here is also the plinth. I may or may not have it all. I'm missing the sides of the plinth, which may or may not be somewhere else. Oh, we got one up here. And then maybe, did I pop it out? Maybe you can spot the other side before I do. Oh yeah, right in the center there. I thought it was this because it's got this similar texture. Okay, cool. I think that's everything plinth. We'll find out. Okay, so this is almost identical in every respect. In fact, it assembles identical to this, but there's a little nuance to it. So let's make sure that we address that. So again, having the stamp side facing outwards will help us assemble this. And what we're going to do is we're going to line up so that we've got these kind of tall, like rusty orangey bits here, so they stay together, and then we've got the front piece here, so you've kind of got stone together, and then you've got the non-stone or the iron pieces together. It is effectively the same as this, but we just want to make sure that we line these up. Then again, exactly the same as before, we've got a base that's going to go in. The base of this one is very simple, just a stone texture on each side. It's not the one that's got this little kind of recess artwork on it. So if I push that into the bottom of the here, you can feel the pressure that, put it around the other way. Let's just pinch that in a little bit. There you go. You'll feel the pressure of that holds that in the bottom, no problem. Again, we'll glue that in because we're going to want to put counters in and out of this on a regular basis. And just like the crate, we're going to drop a little bit of glue on here, making sure that, you know, this is the stamp side up, so we're going to glue onto the bottom of that piece like so, and then stamp side facing up, so we're gluing the two non-stamp sides together. I'm going to make sure that's in the center. I have to eyeball this here. Okay, and then just like this, it creates this little lid piece. And that means that when we pop that on here, that all stays in place. And because this has got higher areas anyway, even without that, this would kind of stay in place. And we'd leave this separately so it dries properly, which I've clearly not done. And once you've got that, you've got this little raised area here, and then this little sword basically just sits in there, which is really cool. Maybe you have to, you know, go and retrieve a thing and put it in this chest and close it, this plinth, and close it in order to, you know, activate or retrieve the magic sword. I don't know, but it's a really cool little plinth. But again, all of these items are, you know, fitting together in the same way. So I'll just move that off to one side. Have we got more items that fit together in the same way? Yes, we absolutely have. We've still got this altar, which is very similar construction, and just like very much similar to the tombs in the core game anyway, but aesthetically slightly different, so we can we'll just cover the differences very quickly. Boop. So we've got these pieces here. Boop. Take that off. Excellent. Right. So again, same thing again. We've got stamp side facing out for best aesthetics. So we're going to go like this, and we're going to go like this, and we're going to go like this. So again, same sort of construction. The difference here is that we've still got a base here, which is just the stone texture, like the lid of the plinth. We've got this one here, which is going to be the lid, and that's going to locate underneath here. So it's just a longer version of the crate. But uniquely, what we can do here to make sure that we get this onto its base securely is we can place this way, stamp side facing up this time, and we can drop that into here, and that fits in there really, really nicely. Then what we're going to do, we're going to turn it over, and we're going to very gently just drop some glue onto here, like so. Now what we can do is, I'm going to drag this a little bit close to me so I can see, we're going to very carefully place this on top of here, making sure that this has got stamp side facing up, so the curvature of the card is coming down. You know, it makes it kind of blend in really nicely. And then we're going to put that on top of here in the center to make sure it's nicely lined up. And once I've got it nicely lined up like that, I'm going to stick a couple of fingers in there. I'm just going to hold that there for a second, being careful that it doesn't move about. So we've lined it up nice and simple. Now if I lift this up, I know that this is in exactly the right place for me to pop this on top. Now what I can do, I'd wait a second for this to dry a little bit better, but I'm incredibly impatient, so I'm just going to run a little bit of glue here and here and here. I'm doing this super fast, you can take a little bit more time, like so. Now I can come back into here, drop this on top, knowing full well that this is in exactly the right place, and already that's stuck on there very, very solid. So that's awesome. So we've got this. Now we've just got the lid to do in exactly the same way as all the others. So we've got the stamp side facing up, so we've got this nice curvature. So we're going to put the glue underneath here, and stamp side facing up, so again we're gluing non-stamp side to non-stamp side. I'm going to do that. And again, just going to bring this slightly closer to me so I can eyeball to make sure that I've got this dead center. Sit, and then again, you want to kind of let that dry for a while, which I'm just not going to do. And if you want to be a super perfectionist, you'll notice that as part of this plinth, so the person would stand this side of the plinth with the candles kind of on the here, and you'll notice a little bit of texture. There's a little bit of like candle drip on the edges of here, and you'll put that side here as the lid. So you've got this is where the person stands, candle drip here, and you've got this nice kind of runic glowy symbols around there. And of course, just like the chest and everything else, you've now got core space to hide in much larger items, some of those really big kind of heavy weapons that you can get in the core set and many of the other sets, and certainly going to be plenty of in the owl of this particular expansion. So yeah, you've got this cool kind of altar, as it were. And again, all of these things come together in almost identical way. Okay, so what have we got that's not going to assemble like that? Well, we've got some things you've seen before, so I'll drop one of these off. We've got this cog lever, which is effectively just two parts here with some little bits that you pop out. 5, drop that to one side, and it's going to be as simple as popping those two bits together. And again, if you want to be really pedantic, make sure the rope lines up with the rope texture on this side, and you've got this little cog lever, which, as we already know, this hooks into the top of the wall, and then this goes into the little nubbin at the bottom, and you've got that, and you've got two of those here. Now you've also got two of these in the core set. You've now got 4 levers, which is really great if you've got an objective that you really have to be pulling a lot of levers, and in fact in the core set there's some smaller levers as well, so you've actually got 6 levers in total, so that's really cool. So there's 2 of those on here. What else have we got? Well, we've got lots of these little sconces. You've seen these sconces before because you've got them in your core set or you've got them in your dungeon, etc. And these are just going to clip on the tops of the walls. We know all about those. Then we have got some little trapdoor counters. These are great for, you know, marking areas on the board where you might be able to get from one area to another where you can't normally get to because there's no doors, etc. When they're open, you can flick them, and you've got like a little texture to show that they're open, and you can see the terrain underneath, as it were. Put those to one side. No assembly required. What we have got is a little Brazier, Brazier. I know I always say this wrong. You can laugh at me. So the non-rude version, and we're going to pop this on here. I'm going to pop out these parts. If you've got our dungeon set and maybe some of our other terrain sets, then you would have seen this before, but if you haven't, and it's certainly not in the Maladam core set, I don't think, or have we got a little water one in the Maladam core set? I don't think we have. I'm not sure. I'm going to say no. I'm going to call it and say we haven't. Either way, I'm going to show you how to assemble this. So what we've got a little 2-slot thing here going on, which creates this nice little base, and then we've got this little fire. And I'm going to call this a fire counter because we probably want to have this active or not active. And then that leaves us with this. And with this, again, this is where the stamp side versus reverse side really starts to pay off. So at the moment, I've got these all facing up stamp side, so the curvature's coming down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this smallest one and I'm going to flip it. Then I'm going to take this thick kind of slightly bigger circle but thicker ring, and I'm going to flip that, but I'm going to leave this one stamp side facing up, and then I'm going to place this on top of here, and then I'm going to place this on top of here, and that will give this little bowl this nice curving up like this, and then curving over the top. It doesn't matter if you don't assemble it exactly like that, but it will just look a little bit better if you let the curves of the card work together. And so that's how it's going to be assembled, but we are going to want to glue that. So dropping that back down here, I'm going to want to put a little bit of glue around the outside of that and pop that on there, and then a little bit of glue around the outside of that and pop that on there. So I'm going to do that now. And I find it's much easier to put the glue onto these parts rather than try to put them onto the underneath of here and lay it down. And you really are just very sparingly dropping this in. My super glue's done a lot of videos now, so it's getting, I've taken the top off so many times, it's terrible actually, but just it goes to show that even with horribly old glue, this works perfectly fine. We're going to drop that one on top, and with this one I'm going to hold it both sides a little bit just to make sure that I get it's not hanging off the edge in any way, shape or form. Then once I've done that, the last thing to do, we'd let this dry a little bit longer, but you know me, a little bit impatient. Then I'm going to drop some glue onto here. I can put quite a lot of glue on here because it's not going to be seen underneath. And I'm then going to flip this over so that I can really make sure that I locate this centrally. It's quite hard to do otherwise. And I'm going to drop that on the top of there. I think I'm happy with that. Yeah, well. Yeah, there you go, that's much more central. And then we'll just let that dry a little bit. I'm not letting it dry. Okay, there we go. And so you have this really nice little sconce. If you, like I say, if you've got this stamp side, reverse side worked out, this has got this really nice kind of uniform shape that just turns it from cardboard into a solid item. And then you have the ability to have this active and on, as it were, or off. So again, it could be an objective in a mission. It's like you need to get to the thing and, you know, light the sconces. When the sconce is lit, it activates the thing over here, which does a doodah that a doobry firkin then flaps open and releases the thingy-mabob. And then, you know, that's what real adventures are made of. So we've got this little sconcey thing. We'll put that over there. We've got another lever, more sconces, we've got our other chest. The only other thing on here that we have got, and I'll tell you what I haven't done. There's a couple of items here that are called altar, which is going to really bring your altar to life, which we didn't do. I'm going to drop those off. So re-enter the altar, and let's see if we can really bring this to life. So I'm going to just add some scatter items on here, starting with this nice book. This book's got a bit of a half cut in it, so we could kind of, you know, have it partly open and then have another little book sitting underneath. That looks pretty cool like that. And then a little pile of books over here. We've got this little ceremonial dish that blood goes in or whatever, and we've got, you know, this weird little triangular Dubry firkin, which can go over here. Or you might say, well, actually I want the Dubry firkin to be sitting on top of this plinth or on top of this chest or something, just to give things a little bit more, you know, of an interest in, you know, you might want to not put it on top of the chest because these are all identical, and maybe you know, you don't want to have one singled out that you're like, yeah, I know which chest it's in because it's got something glued to the top of it. But yeah, you just drop little bits of glue and things on there. So I'm just going to add some interest to this very quickly. There you go, easy as that. And now you've got this nice kind of 3D effect on the top of here, and of course you've still got access to the inside of that. Maybe one of these items wants to be glued inside as well or something. So yeah, that's really cool. I'll move that off to that side. There's nothing left on here that I haven't already utilized. Well, there's another book here that says altar on it, but you know, we've already got one on here. We could have had this one kind of glued on standing up if we want to, but you know, we've got some bookcases over here as well, so maybe I'll save that for the bookcase. Off to one side. That's everything on that sheet done, because these are all duplicates. I'll move that to one side, which leaves us over to here. I think the first thing we'll deal with is these doors here. So I'll drop one of these off here, and we'll grab the little door stands, a couple of those, and we should even bring one of these little sconces over here as well, because we've got some nice lighting on here and a little place to put that. These certainly don't need a video by themselves. You've got a door, it opens, it closes just like your normal dungeon doors. You've got a couple of little areas here to slot these on so that your door stands up, and again, you can glue those in. These don't need it, but you can glue those in if you want. And then you've got a little area to add your little torch, as it were. And you can use these will appear in the rules. Sometimes a door will appear at the edge of a edge where there's not normally a door, etc., and this might lead then into a new area, which may well be this area, for example, or maybe one of these trapdoors leads to this area. So there's 3 of those on here, that are assembled in exactly the same way, so I'll pop that to one side. Then we'll deal with the tapestries. There's 2 different kind of tattered tapestry designs, which is pretty cool, so I'll just drop one of these off. So here's your little tapestry bits, and this is really simple. You're just gonna drop this in here like so, and drop that onto here, and then this will slot in the top of here. If I can line that up correctly. Like so. And then you have this freestanding little tapestry, which is super awesome. It also has got some little hooks on the side here, so it can be hooked onto a wall if you want it to be a little bit more stable. But there's 2 of those here, as it were, and sometimes when you're, you know, accessing one of these additional rooms as a like little side quest thing, it might need the tapestry as an objective point, and there's no walls for it to connect onto, so it can just freestand in there, which is cool. Nice and simple little item. What else have we got on here? There's 2 of those on here, so only need to assemble 1 of those. And so finally, you've got the bookcases, which are awesome. And again, there's 2 of those. So we'll just drop 1 of these off of here. And you'll notice when I pop this off the sheet, I've just taken 1 of each part of these. What that does is gives you a variety of textures on there, so you have not got all the same shelf, or the shelf repeated twice, and then on the other one the shelf repeated twice. So we're going to just need the back, we're going to need a bunch of shelves, 5 and 2 sides. We're also going to need a bunch of these books as well. So again, I'm going to kind of drop out half of these books. There's loads of books around this sheet. So we've got that, we've got a few little piles of books, and I'm going to drop this book across here as well. And of course you could totally take this little item here instead of having it on the plinth and stick it on here as well, along with maybe 1 of these books and this little thing if you want to, as that, you know, altar is quite heavily decorated. So again, for best aesthetic look, we're going to have stamped sides facing outwards here with these sides, and we're going to slot this in like so here, which is cool. And then we're going to put the shelves on, and now you can see as we put these shelves in, because they're different, we're not repeating the shelves. You've got some slight different tones in the colour, but also you've got the little dinks and dents and scratches and stuff in different locations, as it were. So there you go. This is the little crankly bit here that we're going to have at the top. These 2 little tabs can stay at the bottom. And just like the table, and just like the altar, sorry, and well, tables and things, if you've got many of them, you can then just add a few of these books and things on here to taste. So I'm going to drop some of those on there really quickly. Remember, when you do this, you can glue this bookcase together as well. They're pretty sturdy, you don't need to, in my opinion. If I do have an open book, what I like to do with my bookcase is pop a little bit of glue on here, hold this nice and steady here, draw it up against it. I don't want to glue this on without this being pushed firmly on the ground, and then find out my bookcase doesn't stand up. Just like that, and it's nice to have like a little book that's just like hanging on the bottom, you know, just resting up against it. And of course, because it's glued, it's not going to go anywhere. So you make this nice little bookcase here. So yeah, this is a really cool set. Of Allen Adventure adds a lot of gaming to your set anyway, with all of its, you know, extensive amount of equipment and crafting mechanics, etc. But in addition, it has got some rather nifty, you know, unique little pieces of terrain that really just, if you've only got Maladam and then you've got the Allen Adventure set, it really helps to add in that little bit of extra. And of course, we've got much more than what we've got here. We've got 2 of the bookcases, we've got 3 of these walls here, and we've still got another tapestry, and we've still got another cog lever, and we've got another one of these chests as well. So there's lots and lots and lots of content, and a big floor tile as well. So yeah, Allen Adventure, lots of fun stuff inside this set, and in addition, some really cool additional terrain.